Picture this. You're sitting at the kitchen table, a social security statement in front of you, and there's one number on it that everyone keeps calling your full retirement age. 66, 67, somewhere in between. And nobody ever told you what it actually means. Here's what most people get wrong. They treat that age like a starting gun, like it's the day you're supposed to claim. It isn't. It's something more important than that. It's the center line that every single claiming decision you will ever make swings around. And if you don't understand it, you can lose tens of thousands of dollars over your retirement without ever realizing you made a choice at all. Because here's the thing nobody says out loud. Doing nothing is also a decision, and it has a price tag too. So let me make you a deal. By the end of this video, you'll know 3 things cold: the exact full retirement age for your birth year. We'll find it together, right on screen. Why claiming 1 month early or 1 month late changes your check for the rest of your life. And the one number that tells you whether waiting is even worth it for you specifically, not for some average person who isn't you. I'm Jeffrey Miller. I make these breakdowns for people who are tired of being talked down to about their own money. There's a free 1-page Find Your FRA worksheet for this episode in the description if you want to keep the numbers in front of you. That's all I'll say about it. Let's get into the thing itself. Here is the mental model, and we're going to hang the entire video on it. Your full retirement age is simply the age at which Social Security pays you 100% of the benefit you earned. Not a penny less, not a penny more. They have a name for that 100% number. They call it your primary insurance amount, your PIA. You don't need the jargon, just hold on to the picture. There's a line, and at your full retirement age, you're standing exactly on it. Everything else in Social Security, every reduction, every bonus, every rule about working, is just a question of how far in front of that line, or behind it, you choose to stand. So, what's your line? This is the part people came for, so let's answer it directly. If you were born between 1943 and 1954, your full retirement age is a clean 66. If you were born in 1960 or later, it's 67. And if you were born in the years in between, you're on a staircase. It climbs by 2 months a year. Born in 55, it's 66 and 2 months, 56, 66 and 4 months, and so on, 2 months at a time, until it lands on 67 for everyone 1960 and after. And if you're wondering why on earth it's a staircase and not one clean number, that's not a mistake, and it's worth 10 seconds of your time. Back in 1983, Congress changed the law because people were living a lot longer than they did when Social Security was designed, and the program needed to stretch further. Instead of moving the retirement age all at once, they phased it in slowly, 2 months at a time across the birth years, so no single group got hit with a sudden jump. That's the staircase. It's not random, and it's not negotiable. It's baked into federal law by the year you were born, which means your line is already set. You can't change where it sits. You can only decide where you stand relative to it. Let me put the whole staircase on the screen so you can find yourself. 1943 through 54, 66. 1955, 66 and 2 months. 56, 66 and 4 months. 57, 66 and 6 months. 58, 66 and 8 months. 59, 66 and 10 months. And 1960, or later, 67. One quirk worth knowing. Social Security counts anyone born on January 1st under the previous year's rule, so if your birthday is New Year's Day, look at the line above the one you'd expect. Find your RAW, hold on to that number, and let's see what it's actually worth. Why should you care where this line sits, down to the month? Because the entire reward and penalty system of Social Security is measured from that line. Stand in front of it, claim early, and your check shrinks permanently. Stand behind it, wait, and your check grows permanently. The line itself never moves. Your birth year sets it once, for life. So the first job, before you make any decision at all, is to know exactly where your own line is. Most people are fuzzy on it by a year or more, and that fuzziness is exactly where the expensive mistakes live. Let me show you what I mean with 3 real people, because the numbers only land when they're attached to a life. Meet Carol, Carol was born in 1962, so her full retirement age is 67. She turns 62 this year. She's tired. Her knees ache from 30 years on her feet, and she's thinking, I'll just take it now. I've earned it. And she can. 62 is the earliest anyone can claim a retirement benefit. That part's true. But Carol is picturing her full check showing up 4 years early. That is not what happens. What actually lands in her account is a good deal smaller, and once she sees the real number, she gets very quiet. When Carol claims at 62 with a full retirement age of 67, she's claiming 60 months early. Social Security reduces her benefit by a set formula, 0.05% for each of the first 36 months, then 0.05% for the months beyond that. Add it up. That's a 30% cut. Carol doesn't get 100% of her earned benefit. She gets 70% of it. Let's make that concrete. Say Carol's full benefit, her number standing right on the line, would be $2,000 a month. I'm using a round figure just to show the math, so plug in your own. At 62, that $2,000 becomes about $1,400. $600 a month, gone. And not just this year. I want to slow down here, because this is the single most misunderstood thing in the whole topic. That reduced check is permanent. A lot of people genuinely believe that if they claim early, the check catches up, that it bumps back up to the full amount once they finally reach their full retirement age. It does not. The number Carol locks in at 62 is, with one narrow exception we'll get to in a minute, the number she keeps for the rest of her life. It rises with inflation, sure, but it's forever a percentage of the smaller base. $600 a month over a 25-year retirement isn't $600. It's well over $100,000. So when you claim is not a small timing question, it is a permanent setting on the rest of your retirement income. Now, meet David. David was born in 1958, so his full retirement age is 66 and 8 months. David decides to do the simplest thing. He claims exactly at his full retirement age. What does David get? He gets his line. 100% of his primary insurance amount. No reduction, no bonus, exactly what he earned. But David is also still working part-time. And the day he reaches his full retirement age, something quietly turns off for him. A rule that had been silently shrinking his checks the whole time he claimed early would have. Almost nobody warns him about it. It's the reason some people should wait even if they don't care about a bigger check at all. Let's line up the spread, because this is the whole game on one screen. Same person, same earned benefit, 3 different choices. Claim at 62, 70%. Claim at full retirement age, 67, 100%. And if you wait, we'll see how in a minute, it can climb to 124%. 70 on one end, 124 on the other, and your full retirement age sitting right in the middle as the line it all swings around. On that $2,000 example, that's $1,400 at the bottom versus about $2,480 at the top, for the exact same work history. That spread is not loose change. It's the difference between 2 very different retirements. Quick one before we go further, because I'm genuinely curious where you all land. Pause for 2 seconds and type your full retirement age in the comments, 66, 67, or somewhere on the staircase. I read them, and it tells me who's actually out there watching these. Okay, David's mystery. What is the thing that turns off the day you reach your full retirement age? It's called the retirement earnings test, and it's the reason claiming age matters even more if you're still drawing a paycheck. Here's the rule in plain English. Before your full retirement age, if you claim Social Security and you're still earning wages above a yearly limit that Social Security sets, they temporarily hold back part of your benefit, roughly $1 for every few dollars you earn over that limit. People see a check get withheld and panic, convinced the money's gone for good. But the moment you reach your full retirement age, that earnings test disappears completely. After your line, you can earn any amount at all, keep your full-time job, start a business, and Social Security will not withhold a single dollar of your check. So picture 2 sides of the line. On the before side, you claim early, you keep working, you earn over the annual limit, and Social Security withholds part of your benefit for now. On the at and after side, the test is gone. No limit, no withholding, full check. And here's the fair part almost everyone misses. The months they withheld from you before your full retirement age aren't simply erased. When you reach full retirement age, Social Security recalculates and credits those withheld months back to you, permanently nudging your monthly amount up. That is a real thing, and it is completely separate from the early claim reduction, which does not come back. 2 different mechanisms. Keep them in two different boxes in your head. Let me put a real number on this so it stops being abstract. Imagine David had claimed at 63, 2 years before his line, and he's still pulling in a part-time paycheck well above the annual earnings limit Social Security sets each year. In that case, Social Security holds back roughly $1 of his benefit for every $2 or $3 he earns over the limit, depending on the year. For a lot of people, that means several months a year where the Social Security check basically doesn't show up at all. It feels like a punishment for working. It isn't, quite. Remember, those held-back months get credited back later, but in the moment, it can wreck a budget that was counting on both the paycheck and the check. That's the whole reason some folks who plan to keep working simply wait until their full retirement age to claim. At the line, the earnings test vanishes, and they can work and collect with no penalty at all. I want to nail that distinction because mixing the two up is exactly where smart, careful people get this wrong. There are two completely different things that can happen to an early check, and they have opposite endings. Number 1, the permanent reduction for claiming before your line. That one never reverses. It's the price of claiming early, locked in. Number 2, the temporary withholding from the earnings test if you keep working. That one does get credited back at full retirement age, so if you only remember one sentence from this whole section, make it this: claiming early shrinks your check forever. Working while you claim early only delays part of it. One is a haircut. The other is a loan you pay yourself back. Now the other direction entirely. Meet Eleanor, born 1959, full retirement age 66 and 10 months. Eleanor is healthy, she's got good genes, both her parents lived deep into their 90s, and crucially, she doesn't need the Social Security money the day she stops working, because she's got some savings to bridge the gap. So Eleanor does something Carol and David never seriously considered. She waits past her line, and here's the part that surprises people. Social Security actually pays her every single month for the privilege of waiting. Here's how the reward works. For every month you delay claiming past your full retirement age, Social Security adds 2/3 of 1% to your benefit. That's 8% a year, and it is a contractual increase written into law, not a market bet, just for waiting. They're called delayed retirement credits, and they keep stacking until age 70. After 70, they stop cold, so there is no reason on earth to wait past it. For someone with a full retirement age of 67, waiting all the way to 70 means 3 years of 8%, a 24% raise, 124% of the benefit, locked in for life, plus every inflation adjustment on top. On our $2,000 example, that's about $24.80 a month instead of $2,000. That's Eleanor's reward for patience. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you everybody should wait until 70, because that's exactly the kind of lazy, one-size advice I can't stand. Waiting is a real raise, but it's a raise you buy, and the price is all the checks you skip in the years you're waiting. Eleanor gives up roughly 3 years of payments to get that bigger number, so the honest question isn't, is waiting better? It's, how long do you expect to collect? Advisors call the answer your break-even point, the age where the bigger delayed check finally adds up to everything you gave up by waiting. For most people, that break-even lands somewhere in the late 70s to low 80s. Live comfortably past it, and waiting wins big. Don't. And claiming earlier was the smarter call all along. Nobody knows their exact date. That's why this is a judgment call about your health and your family history, not a math trick. Now maybe you're watching this thinking, Jeffrey, I already claimed at 62. Did I just blow it? Not necessarily, and this is the part almost nobody knows about, so stay with me. Social Security gives you 2 narrow escape hatches. The first, if it's been less than 12 months since you started your benefit, you can formally withdraw your application. File one form, pay back what you've received, and it's as if you never claimed at all. You only get to do that once in your life, but it completely resets the clock. The second hatch is for people already at or past their full retirement age. You can ask Social Security to suspend your payments, and every month you stay suspended, up to 70, earns those same delayed retirement credits, 8% a year, quietly rebuilding your check. So an early claim isn't always a life sentence. But both doors are narrow, and they close fast. So if either one fits you, look into it this week, not next year. Let me show you why. If you're married, this stops being a solo decision. Meet Frank and Ruth. Frank was the higher earner all his life, so his benefit is the bigger of the two. Frank, like a lot of men, wants to claim at 62. Take the money, enjoy it. But here's what most couples never get told. When one spouse passes, the survivor doesn't keep both checks. They keep the higher one. So if Frank claims early and locks in that 30% cut, and Frank passes first, which, statistically, husbands tend to, Ruth doesn't just lose Frank. She gets stuck living on Frank's reduced check for the rest of her life. Maybe 10 or 15 more years. Frank's rushed decision at 62 quietly became Ruth's standard of living at 80. That's why the higher earner waiting isn't just a bigger check, it's insurance on the person you love most. Let me put that delayed credit raise in perspective, because I think people hear 8% and shrug. Think about where else a 68-year-old can get a guaranteed 8% a year, for life, with zero risk. A bank savings account won't do it. A government bond won't do it. The stock market might average something like that over decades, but it can also drop 30% in a year, right when you need it. The delayed credit increase is written into federal law. It does not care what the market did last week. For a healthy person who can afford to bridge a few years from savings, that is one of the best risk-free returns available to any retiree in America. And most people walk right past it because nobody framed it as the deal that it is. I'm not telling you to take it. I'm telling you to see it clearly before you decide. Let me save you from the 4 mistakes I see destroy this decision. 1. Claiming at 62 out of fear that Social Security is going away. It isn't disappearing, and panic claiming locks in that 30% cut for life. Don't let a headline cost you $100,000. 2. If you're married, deciding you're claiming age in isolation. Your two benefits are linked through the survivor rule, and the higher earner claiming early can permanently shrink what the surviving spouse lives on. 3. Claiming early while you're still working a full paycheck. You can get hit with the reduction and the earnings test withholding at the same time, which is the worst of both worlds. And 4. Never actually looking up your own numbers and guessing instead. Which brings me to the single most useful thing you can do today. Here's the homework, and it takes about 10 minutes. Go to ssa.gov and open a free My Social Security account. It's the official site, no third party, no fee, ever. Once you're in, your statement shows you 2 things that matter today. First, your full retirement age, spelled out for your exact birthday, so you're never guessing about your line again. Second, an estimate of your monthly benefit at 62, at your full retirement age, and at 70. The real version of the 3 numbers we just walked through, calculated on your actual earnings record. Print it, or grab the 1-page worksheet in the description, and write those 3 numbers down, side by side. Seeing your own 70%, your 100%, and your 124% next to each other is the moment this stops being a video and starts being your decision. So let's turn Carol, David, and Eleanor into something you can actually use. If your health is shaky, or your family doesn't tend toward long lives, or you simply need the income now to live with dignity, claiming earlier is a legitimate, rational choice, not a failure. If you're healthy, still working, and you don't need the money yet, every year you wait buys you an 8% raise that no savings account on the planet will match. And if you're married, please don't decide alone, because the larger of your 2 benefits becomes the survivor's benefit when one of you passes, and waiting can be the most loving financial thing you ever do for the person you leave behind. That survivor math deserves its very own video, and it's coming. Before we close, hold up the 3 levers that actually decide this, because they matter far more than any calendar. Lever 1, your health and family longevity, how long you realistically expect to collect. Lever 2, whether you're still working and how much, that's the earnings test and your tax picture. Lever 3, marriage, survivor protection for whoever lives longer. Notice what is not on this list. A magic best age. There isn't one. There's only your line, and how your own 3 levers tell you to stand in front of it, on it, or behind it. One more myth to kill while we're here, because it quietly wrecks people's retirement budgets. A lot of folks believe that once they hit full retirement age, their Social Security stops being taxed. That is simply not true. Whether your benefits get taxed has nothing to do with your age and everything to do with your combined income, how much other money you've got coming in from pensions, work, and withdrawals. You can be 80 years old and still owe tax on part of your benefit if your income is high enough. Full retirement age changes your check. It does not touch your tax bill. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So let's bring it all the way home. Your full retirement age is one number set by the year you were born, and it is the line that every other Social Security decision is measured from. Stand in front of it, and your check shrinks for life. Stand right on it, and you get exactly what you earned. And the earnings test finally lets go of you. Stand behind it, up to 70, and you collect a raise written into law. 66 for the older group, 67 for everyone born in 1960 or later, and that little 2-month staircase in between. Find your line first, then look at your health, your work, and your marriage. Every good claiming decision in the world starts at that one number. And the people who lose the most are almost always the ones who never bothered to learn where their own line was. And the usual, honest reminder. This is educational, not personal financial advice. Your situation has details that a video simply can't see, so use this to ask sharper questions, not to replace a real plan with someone who knows your whole picture. If this finally made your own full retirement age click, do 2 things for me. First, tell me in the comments which camp you're leaning toward. Claim early, claim right on the line, or wait. Next time, I'm breaking down the honest case for claiming at 62. The real situations where taking it early is genuinely the smart move, not the mistake people assume it always is. Subscribe so it lands in your feed, and send this to one person over 60 who's about to make this exact decision. It might be the most useful thing you share all month. Find your line. Everything starts there.